What happens if you only level up resistance in Dark Souls 1? Hello everybody, Stream Your Mind here, and today we have another video where I will only level up one stat all the way to 99 and see the results. This is going to be the last one of these type of videos for a while because, as we all know, Shadows of the Erdtree is dropping in just a few days, so much of my focus will be on making content about that for you guys to enjoy. Anyways, let me tell you a very short story. The other day, I stumbled upon a video about Dark Souls 1 made by the Actman, and at a certain point in this video, he clearly states,
"And you'll need to be smart about what you invest in. Pro tip, resistance is the best stat to level. I max it first."
Now, it might have been a joke on his part, but in the video he sounds pretty serious. So, let's find out if the Actman is actually correct. Oh, but before we begin, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to reach 10,000 subs by the end of the year, and it would be amazing if you could help me reach that goal. And without further ado, let's jump straight back in the world of Lordran. We begin this run as usual in the character creator. After picking up the Pyromancer and taking the Master Key, I became the world's sexiest man with the sickest haircut. After talking to homeboy Oscar to get my hands on the Estus Flask, I took the plunge on the Asylum Demon and then finished him off with my fireballs. I then got dropped by a giant bird in Firelink Shrine, and once I was here, I went straight to Ohio where I had to fight a crackhead woman wearing a trash bag as a hat. Listen. Don't ask questions. I then used the souls I gained from defeating her to pump our first levels into resistance, and I also enjoyed doing that weird leg thingy that you usually do at the bonfire. I then summoned the crackhead to help me fight our first boss, the giant spider lady, which honestly satisfied a fetish I didn't even know I had. Since my axe wasn't upgraded and Quelaag is immune to fire damage, Mildred had to do most of the heavy lifting, with me running around trying to take as much aggro as possible. Unfortunately, the man-eater is kinda dumb, and she constantly jumps into the lava pool, getting herself stuck and not attacking when she has a clear opening. Come on, Mildred, come on! Anyways, after a lot of patience, the Queen of the Spiders went down. I then rang the first Bell of Awakening and used the souls obtained from defeating Quelaag to upgrade my Pyroflame to +8. I then stole some used lingerie and the Ceaseless Discharge got pretty upset about it. I don't really know why, but after having a good chat, he unalived himself and I upgraded my flame to +10. I forgot to mention that I joined the Daughters of Chaos Covenant to get the Great Chaos Fireball. Having the Pyro Glove upgraded to +10 allows us to finally see Quilana, from which I bought Great Combustion. She seems kind of friendly considering the fact that we just slaughtered half of her family, and it was time to run all the way to Darkroot Basin to kill the Hydra chilling in the lake. As usual, the meth crystals came back to ruin my day, but fortunately the Hydra got rid of them for me. For the last remaining head though, I ran out of spells, so I had to use my unupgraded hand axe to finish the job. I then proceeded to save Ulasil, and I put my dirty hands on the Crown of Dusk, which increases the power of sorceries and pyromancies by 20%. Since I was already here, I decided to go up the ladder to reach the Darkroot Garden area. Something very important that I haven't yet mentioned is try and loot every consumable soul you can find. I then paid a visit to the best boy or girl in the whole world, and after dying an embarrassing death, I came back with vengeance. Now, Sith can be quite jumpy and moves a lot, but fortunately though, we were doing more than enough damage so the big wolf never really posed any issue. However, what I do hate is when we see him or her limping. That's brutal and sad, and we don't do that here, Miyazaki. After taking Sif to a farm in the suburbs, I ran all the way to the Undead Parish, I lit the bonfire, traveled all the way back to Blighttown, and thanks to all the consumable souls I picked up, I upgraded the Pyroflame to +14. I then killed the merchant in Undead Burg for the Residence Key, and I performed a skip to reach the lower Undead Burg area to free Griggs of Vinheim. I then roasted the Taurus Demon, reached 30 resistance, tried my best at impersonating an egg, and the giant bird came back to pick me up to take me back to the asylum, where I fried the stray demon's juicy booty with my smoking hot pyromancies. This fight is really easy if you just stick to his butt. You can use a shield to block its magic AoEs if you have any trouble timing your rolls, and the demon went down on my second try. With the 20k I made from defeating the boss, I bought the Bellowing Dragon Crest ring, which also increases the power of pyros and sorceries by 20%. Okay, time for gargoyles. After the easiest gargoyle of my life, I rang the second bell, and on my way to Sen's Fortress I picked up the Firekeeper's Soul. Sen's Fortress went as smooth as ever. I picked up the souls in the right corner of the first room, said bye-bye to this guy, and I also picked up the souls on the roof before resting at the bonfire. Picked up the key to the elevator, cooked the giant throwing the mega fireballs, reached 35 resistance, and it was time to fight a giant armor that for some reason can take damage and die. The fight lasted less than 30 seconds, an absolute dub. But before touching the shiny asshole in the middle of the arena, I took the shortcut, ran past the undead parish, through Firelink Shrine, all the way into Blighttown to ascend my pyromancy flame with the help of my master. I then returned all the way back to Sen's Fortress, and I was off to Anor Londo. I used the remaining souls I had to upgrade my resistance up to 40, then it took a leap of faith, and fortunately my prayers didn't fall to deaf ears because I didn't fall off. I lowered the elevator, unlocking the shortcut, killed the most notorious archer in gaming history, got the occult club as well as Hyvel's armor, and got the soul of a hero guarded by a silver knight. I used it to level up my resistance once again, and it was time for the dynamic duo to become the dynamic Uno and then to be the dynamic Zero, I guess? Once Pikachu and Snorlax were defeated, I could finally pick up my prize. Obviously talking about the Lord Vessel, you perv. Another thing I noticed is that up to this point resistance has proven to be pretty much useless, and never once I thought, thank God I leveled up my resistance. But maybe this will change a little way down the line, who knows. I used the soul to upgrade my Ascended Pyroflame to +1, and then proceeded to place the Lord Vessel back in Firelink Shrine. Once the giant bowl of cereal was placed, I thought it would be a good idea to get the 4 kings out of the way ASAP. Unfortunately, I got overwhelmed by the ghost while trying to kill Ingvard for the seal key, because, I would have to go the traditional route instead of using the speedrunning techniques I'd learned during my attempts at speedrunning the game. So I took a transient curse and was once again overwhelmed by the sheer amount of ghosts and banshees in the room below our beloved NPC. Third time around though, I was able to get to the top and cooked Ingvar to a crisp and got my hands on the damn key. I released the water, opening the shortcut to the Valley of the Drakes. I made sure to equip the Covenant of Artorias ring, and I dropped down into the darkness of the Abyss. I equipped the chest piece of Havel's armor for some extra defense, which helped me tank most of the boss's attacks while I was grilling their butts. I was kinda worried that I wasn't going to deal enough damage in the right amount of time, but to my surprise, I never got ganked and was able to 1v1 every king. Overall an easy fight. I remember them posing a much bigger threat on my first soul level 1 run. With the amount of souls I collected, I upgraded the Pyro Glove once again. The Rite of Kindling was probably going to be very useful for some of the upcoming fights, so I went to the Catacombs next. I parkoured my way down the cliff, almost dying in the process I would add, and I ran for my life hoping I wouldn't get chased by bone wheels. And it was time to fight off the hardest boss in any game in the history of mankind. Pinwheel. I'm surprised I even had to press the R1 button 3 times.
Yo mama.
After continuing my journey through the Tomb of Giants, I was able to grab the bonfire with ease. Then I quickly took a detour to the chamber of the Princess Bonfire in Anor Londo, and thanks to the giant blacksmith, I reversed the Occult Club back to a +5 Divine Club. I pumped a few levels into Resistance, got that special patches treatment,
This is what I do, my friend. The trinkets I'll be stripping off your corpse, that's the real treasure.
and picked up the Skull Lantern before dark signing back to the bonfire. I enacted my revenge on Baldy over here, and it was time to fight the Grave Lord Danny DeNito himself. The boss itself ain't hard at all. So the Divine Club is pretty much crucial for success as it stops the skeletons from coming back to life. Also, blocking while two-handing a weapon will make it so that the hitboxes of Nito's Great Sword Dance won't hit you. Anyways, after killing all 3 of his skeletons, the fight itself turned out to be an even funnier joke than I expected. And I could finally max out the Ascended Pyroflame to +5, while also buying Firestorm for later. I pumped a few more levels into Resistance, and my next stop was the Duke's Archives. And after many attempts at trying to get this skip, after what felt like forever, this finally happened. For the second time in my life I was able to nail this skip, which in my opinion is definitely one of the hardest skips in the game. And it would have probably been better to just go the traditional route. I then unlocked the shortcut and lit the bonfire, waited for the naked dragon to break his giant dildo with his crystal breath. Wait, what? And I spent the next 3 minutes of my life chasing his right tentacle around the arena until he died. Time to reach the DLC. Thanks to the Great Chaos Fireball, the Sanctuary Guardian wasn't too much of a challenge. As you can see, the damage is kind of insane, and weirdly enough, Resistance hasn't proven to be anything but useless in this run. It's like a soul level 1 run without the unnecessary waste of souls, even though leveling Resistance is a waste of souls. Once the Guardian was defeated, I returned to Anor Londo to roast Lothric like the casual that he is. I returned to the Valley of Drakes real quick for the RTSR ring and went back to Blighttown to pick up the Power Within Pyromancy. I gave back the souls to the Firekeeper, I set fire to a random guy because I liked his gear, and it was time to fight my favorite boss in the game. Back to the Demon Ruins, I quickly ran to Fire Sage Demon, and just like with the Stray Demon, I cooked his ass until he was nice and crispy. As many of you probably know already, the Centipede Demon is completely immune to fire damage, just like Queeleg and the Ceaseless Discharge. So I stood in this corner, waited for him to grab me, and while grabbed I started smashing the bumpers and triggers on my controller, until I got released and he fell off the map. I used the firebombs trick to cheese everybody's favorite boss. Say all what you will about the Bed of Chaos, but the boss aesthetic is so fucking cool. And I then slapped the bug, but unfortunately we ended up trading because of course we did. But again, a win is a win, especially against this motherfucker. After gaining my souls back, I pushed my resistance up to 72. Since there was no way I could reach 99 resistance with the amount of bosses I had left, I duped some souls and leveled up to 99. Then I went to the painting world of Ariamis because I had an experiment in mind. I picked up the Painting Guardian set, which is the armor set with the highest poison resistance. Unlocked the boss fight, roasted Priscilla like a marshmallow, upgraded to +5 every piece of the armor, and I was ready to see if you can actually avoid getting poisoned in the swamp before the Queeleg fight. And turns out, you'll still end up getting poisoned, so resistance is completely useless. So to answer the question of the video, if you only level up resistance, you will be playing the game as a soul level 1 character. And it is definitely the most useless stat of any From Software game in my opinion. Please don't listen to the Actman, for the love of God, you'll be better off leveling up Vitality. Let me know though what you guys think is the worst stat in the Souls series. It was time to end this, and I was ready now to take Grandpa to the nursing home. Alright guys, thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed the video. The channel reached 7,000 subscribers and I couldn't be happier. Thank you all for the support. More stuff is coming, so stay tuned. If you haven't already though, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time.